Hello. Today I'm going to talk about an article I came across on Forbes. The title of the article is Quant Finance Dead? And that's written in the context of AI disrupting quantitative finance in different areas of quant finance, whether it's on the research side in hedge funds and trading side in different trading firms. So I thought of making a video on that. Some of you might be doing your master's degrees in quant finance or mathematical finance or any area of finance and hoping to get a job in a year or 2 years' time. And if you read such an article, quite likely that you will be disappointed, but also be a bit apprehensive about what's there for you is in the future when you graduate, right? So I want to clarify a few things. Being an insider, I have been in this industry for a long time. I have seen the ups and downs. I've met many people. I've worked in different financial centers. So I thought of giving my own perspective that is it just a clickbait article or there is some truth in it. Well, there's no denying that AI is disrupting and there is no field that is going to be left undisrupted uh, be- because of AI. So AI is definitely going to disrupt everything, and finance is no exception to that. But we have to, uh, add a bit of a nuance to that. I mean, if you just say, okay, quant finance is getting disrupted, it's dead, the research can easily be done by an AI system. You don't need human traders. You don't need human researcher in the field of finance. That's actually not true. There's a question asked to Jamie Dimon, he's the CEO of JP Morgan, one a big short guy in the field of finance, some 10 years back, that Google and Microsoft and the likes of all the other tech companies like Apple, they were coming heavy in the field of finance. They were trying to disrupt finance. Even then, they had like top tier technology to disrupt, whether it's in the area of payment or SME financing, all kinds of financing, wealth management as well. And this question was asked to him 10 years back to the CEO of JP Morgan. I said, look, the tech will obviously make things more efficient, but you definitely need the brick and mortar banks to manage money, to transfer money, to have that trust. You can't disrupt finance in a few years time. And how true he was. 10 years down the line, you do not see Google, Microsoft, Apple disrupting finance anymore. The biggest banks 10 years back are still the biggest bank now. In fact, the biggest bank 20 years back are more or less the biggest bank now. So it's not easy to disrupt finance, even with the finest of the technologies. Now, this time it's probably a bit different, right? 10 years back, we didn't have that level of powerful research tools like we have now with all the LLM tools, which are very, very powerful, doing research, collecting information, processing information, and coming up with insights at a scale, at a speed that it is practically impossible for a human researcher to do that kind of activities. But then anyone who has worked in finance will tell you that that's not everything that a quant finance guy does, right? There are more to things, right? If you're working as a quant in large banks, there are many areas where you need to do more than just doing research. That's where you need that human element. Okay, that's one with banks, but even at hedge funds and trading firms, it's very unlikely that people will give you the money. By the way, that's money coming from high net worth individuals. I don't think they're stupid enough to give money to the algorithms. You definitely need people to manage money. So the stakes are very high in the field of finance, whether it's the public money, the normal people money, which is the banking system, or the more high net worth individual money, rich people's money, in the case of hedge funds and HFTs and all prop trading firms, or the sovereign wealth funds and the pension funds. These are companies which are not like the likes of Amazon or eBay, where you have a new technology, you try it out, you fire employees next day. That's not how it works in the field of finance, right? Having said that, I do see quite a bit of a change in the next 5-10 years, probably even sooner, that uh, there will be less jobs in almost every field, white collar field, quite likely. I think it's quite likely because the efficiency and productivity gain is actually quite massive. Even for myself, I see it has improved my own efficiency, proficiency, productivity quite a bit with the new AI tools that are in the market nowadays. But that does not mean that the jobs will go away simply. There will be more competition, no doubt about it, and one should be prepared for it, but there will always be jobs. And what I foresee is that in the field of quant finance, there may not be many jobs purely doing for research, but there will be a lot of jobs just for the verification purpose. I mean, you will need people to verify the research done by the algorithms is actually correct, or doesn't, or it makes sense, or there's no hallucination happening. So it will be more of people doing software testing. If anybody who has done software engineering would know that you need people to test your software very well or to assess your software very well. And people working in the model risk side would know that you have jobs like model auditor, model validator. I think those jobs will be even more in the future, simply because there will be more number of models, and AI models, no matter where they use, they will need to be validated even in a more stringent way than the humanly built models. And these models are very complex compared to the more statistical regression type models or the simple simulation models that are in use currently. In the future, if there are more AI systems taking decisions on behalf of the human analyst, these models have to be then audited, validated properly, right? And it will require people with quantitative skills, people who understand finance, mathematical models, underlying models next to the AI models, not just using the AI tools or the Geminis or the ChatGPT, but also understanding the algorithms behind these tools is also going to be very, very crucial. Because it's very unlikely that there will be so many foundation models, right? Will be maybe few winners, 3 4, like we have just one search engine now. There will be few LLM winners in the future, and there will be a lot of things built on top of that, right? In order to build those things, you definitely need good understanding of the AI tools, but also good understanding of the domain, whatever area you're working with, whether it's the trading or the asset management, whether it's on the banking, lending, insurance, all kinds of lending activities. You will definitely need people with expertise in both, and that's where the quant finance people will be extremely, extremely useful in the field of finance, I'll tell you. Now, if the field of finance becomes more technical, more tech type, then quants will benefit more than anyone else, because even the people working in front office, people who shake hands with wealthy people or with representatives from governments, or large CEOs of large corporates, even those guys have to have some understanding of the technical aspects of banking, technical aspects of whatever finance they're doing. Okay, so there will be need of more quants. I think even 10 years back, I saw many quants moving to front office, doing front office roles. That was unheard of 20 years back. You join as a quant, you retire as a quant. So it was more like a software engineering job 20-30 years back. Now things have changed. Now I see many quants becoming head of uh, head of fintechs, head of pension funds and so on. Recently I came across someone who used to work as a quant and now is a CEO of an asset management firms here in Netherlands. So these things can happen. If you see the Revolut, which is one of the biggest fintech company, its CEO was a quant at some point. He comes from a physics and economics background. Coincidentally, that's also my own background, educational background. And then he went to work as a quant for a few years, moved to fintech, started a company, is now the CEO of perhaps the second biggest fintech company in the world. So I would like to summarize this way that there will be a need of quantitative finance people. There will be some level of disruption, no doubt, in the next few years. And anyway, the economy is bad, job market is very bad already for 2 years, but it's probably going to linger a bit. Uh, but I do not see the profession going away completely. I do not see that it's an area which is dead. In my view, there are probably more quant finance vacancies I've come across in the last 3 years compared to my entire what I've seen in my last 10, 15 years of career. So, for students who are aspiring to work in this field, I would say be positive, and just focus on your skills. Do networking as much as possible. Get your first job, that's the most difficult one to get, and get some good quality experience early in your career. That will help you through. Competition will always be there. There will always be areas. I mean, it's never like it's not like you get a job for once and you're done for life. That's never the case in any career, and this is not an exception to that. Anyway, that's something I wanted to share with you. Also, I think one other point I would like to mention here is that because finance in general is a very regulated area, right? So regulation will not allow you to have uh, a massive disruption, at least in a short period of time. Anyone who has worked in finance would tell you that innovation is not very conducive in the field of finance. There is joke that the last innovation that happened in finance was ATM machines, and then there has been never been any innovation since then. I would beg to differ. There have been many innovations in the field of finance, no doubt about it, but every new innovation actually brought good things for people working in the field of finance. There were derivatives introduced 40 50 years back. Who benefited more from it? Is the people within finance who benefited more from it. There was financial crisis 2008, and then a lot of regulation, a lot of things changed, compliance requirements, so on. Who benefited more from that? Is the people who are working in finance. Then fintech came, disruption happened. Who benefited from it? Is the people working in finance who benefited from it. When there was funding happening, I remember I was in London in 2016. A lot of the fintech firms were heavily funded, and many people were moving from traditional banking world to the world of fintechs, and even at a relatively less experienced level, people were moving to very senior roles in those fintech firms and made a good amount of money through equities and employee stock options. So who benefited at that time with that this kind of disruption? It's the people working in finance. So I genuinely believe that if you have a good amount of experience and if you have skills in mathematical modeling, you can write code, you understand finance, you can communicate well, then you will do well in finance. There may be changes, there will be things you may not like, but as long as you like the field, you'll always have work to do. That's my view. I can be 100% wrong, by the way. 5 years down the line, maybe the world is very different. I cannot predict, but this is just my own view. Take it with a pinch of salt, by the way. Thanks, guys.